Waking consciousness is a continuous stream of sensory inputs and internal monologues. Yet every single night, that continuous stream completely fractures. Under normal physiological conditions, sleep is the only time the subjective experience deliberately and reversibly fades into a profound void. Modern clinical evaluations of these cases show that while dreaming stops, the patients continue to cycle through robust, perfectly preserved REM sleep. High-density neuroimaging identifies this specific region, the posterior cortical hot zone, as the anatomical footprint of dreaming. The presence of a dream is dictated by the electrical state of this area, rather than the broad classification of sleep stages. When low-frequency delta waves, ranging from 1 to 4 Hz, flood this posterior hot zone, the subjective mind turns off. This specific frequency acts as a master switch, regardless of whether the brain is in a REM or non-REM state. Because consciousness depends on the activity of this localized hot zone, the brain utilizes a specialized mechanism to forcibly extinguish it every night. To find the engine of the void, we must zoom in from macroscopic networks to the microscopic behavior of individual neurons. Deep sleep triggers a state called cortical bistability. Deprived of waking neuromodulation, neuronal membrane potentials oscillate between wake-like firing and a state of deep hyperpolarization. These purple protein channels, known as potassium leak channels, drive this transition. Positively charged blue potassium ions rush out of the cell. This ion loss forces the neuron into a down state, creating a period of absolute electrical silence. When millions of neurons fall into a down state simultaneously, their collective silence registers as the massive negative deflection of a slow wave. Consciousness relies on the highly integrated exchange of information across distant brain networks. The synchronized silence of these downstates physically fragments the brain into causally independent, isolated modules. This dreamless void is an enforced electrochemical blockade, severing the integration required for a conscious self. Evolution rarely mandates a state of total paralyzed vulnerability without a significant payoff. The electrical silence of the void creates the physical conditions for a heavy-duty waste clearance protocol. The glymphatic system utilizes these orange aquaporin channels to flush the brain. During deep sleep, the brain's interstitial space expands, allowing fluid to surge through and wash away neurotoxic waste. When the void is disrupted, these toxins accumulate, acting as a primary driver for neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's. Cetaceans, like these sperm whales, demonstrate the survival necessity of this state. Because their breathing is voluntary, they cannot enter total bihemispheric unconsciousness without drowning. To solve this, cetaceans use unihemispheric slow-wave sleep. They put only half their brain to sleep at a time. One hemisphere plunges into the void to run the flush, while the other maintains the vigilance required to surface for air. Species facing extreme environmental pressure develop these complex asymmetrical architectures to ensure the void occurs, proving that dreamless sleep is a mandatory survival mechanism. These neurobiological findings parallel the ancient Advaita Vedanta concept of sushupti, the state of deep, dreamless sleep. This philosophical tradition asserts that consciousness remains present in the void, but rests without an object or an ego to illuminate. During sushupti, individuality vanishes, leaving a single, undifferentiated state of potential. This aligns with the empirical observation that people remember knowing nothing upon waking. One cannot recall the experience of nothingness unless a baseline awareness was present to witness it. While the ego software is offline during these down states, the biological hardware maintains a high metabolic rate to drive protein synthesis and the glymphatic flush. The brain remains powered on, even as the electrochemical silence prevents the integration of specific sensory or narrative objects in the mind. Dreamless sleep is the ultimate act of biological maintenance, a state where the self is sacrificed daily so the machine can survive.